For many years, the world has pretended that the connection between the Bantu peoples and ancient Israel is nothing more than coincidence. But when you follow the migrations, the languages, and the earliest records of travelers, a different picture appears. A picture the world hoped you would never see. Our journey begins after the fall of Jerusalem in 78. When Rome destroyed the temple, hundreds of thousands of Israelites fled for their lives. Many escaped into Africa, not into Europe, not into the north, but into the same regions their ancestors had always turned to for refuge. Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, and the Horn of Africa became the first safe routes. From there, families traveled south along the Nile, following trade paths that existed long before colonization. They passed through Nubia, through the ancient Kushite territory, and descended into the Great Lakes region. These were not random wanderers. These were entire communities carrying their customs, their language roots, their clan structures, and the blessings and burdens of their ancestors. As they moved deeper into Central Africa, these groups began to merge with earlier Israelite communities who had fled during older wars, such as the Babylonian and Assyrian conquests centuries before. Over time, these combined families formed what we now call Bantu-speaking peoples. This explains why Bantu languages, across vast distances, still share patterns that echo ancient Hebrew, words for people, breath, spirit, brother, food, water, and the name of the Most High still carry ancestral meaning. These similarities are not borrowed from missionaries. They are preserved memories of the people who carried their identity across continents. Early historians also noticed this. Arab travelers in East Africa wrote that the people they met practiced circumcision, avoided unclean foods, kept clan purity, and performed rituals that reminded them of Israel. Portuguese explorers in Mozambique and Congo recorded communities that claimed descent from ancient eastern lands and held oral traditions similar to biblical stories. Colonial scholars dismissed these connections. They had to, admitting that the Israelites existed in Africa long before Europeans arrived would destroy the narrative that Africa was dark, primitive, and uncivilized. It would also expose that many of the people stolen into slavery were not random tribes. They were descendants of the covenant people written about in Scripture. And this brings us to one of the most powerful pieces of evidence: the roots of the transatlantic slave trade. A huge number of enslaved people came specifically from Bantu regions: Angola, Congo, Mozambique, Malawi, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and even parts of South Africa. Records show ship after ship loaded with Bantu captives, many labeled as Kongu, Mozambique, or Zulu, but in truth, they were part of a larger Israelite-descended population. This perfectly fulfills the prophecy written in Deuteronomy 28, that Israel will be taken into slavery by ships, scattered into all nations, renamed, stripped of identity, and sold to enemies. No other people on earth fit this description with such precision. But here is the beauty of prophecy. The scattering was never the end of the story. The scriptures say that in the last days, the lost tribes would awaken. They would remember who they are in the lands of their captivity and reconnect with the truth their ancestors carried. And that awakening is happening today. Across America, Brazil, the Caribbean, Europe, and throughout Africa itself, the descendants of the Bantu Israelites are reclaiming their identity. They are discovering that their customs, their migrations, and their history did not begin in chains. They began in covenant. The world hid the truth, but the truth has survived. It survived in our languages. It survived in our traditions. It survived in our bloodline. It survived in the prophecy written thousands of years ago. The awakening is here. Part 3 continues the journey, revealing the ancient Bantu Hebrew words, the hidden prophetic timelines, and why the world worked so hard to hide this truth.